Hey, what's up, sports fans? Week 1 NFL. We are here to talk it over. The NFL is back. It is Thursday right now. We are about 5 hours away from kickoff on the Thursday night showdown. We got Tampa Bay taking on the Dallas Cowboys tonight, so it's a nice little teaser. But we're here to talk the main slate. Good to have you with me, my friend, and it is good to have football back.
Yeah, man, excited for tonight, this weekend. Browns, obviously Packers for you. Talking to Slate, DFS. I mean, we got it all. MLB still going on. What's not to love right now?
It's a great time of the year for sports, guys. We got MLB playoffs coming up soon as well, so a lot to talk about. But we are here for the Week 1 main slate, guys. Members-only videos. We're going to do our joint video tomorrow for all paying customers. And then on Saturday, Matt does his GPP members-only video with another DFS tout, and then I do one with another cash game fella. So those will come out to the paying customers as well. If you'd like to be a paying customer, we would obviously love to have you. The full season of NFL, all 18 regular season weeks and the entire playoffs, you can get it for about $6 a week. Really, really good deal right there. That is up at the website. Also, anybody that signs up for a lifetime membership this week gets a $100 reimbursement. That's all sports. Going forward, future, no extra payments.
Yeah, man, excited for that. Excited for new customers to come on. So let's get it.
And I'll just bring up one thing since I cannot stop getting comments on this the last 2 weeks. So with a lot of people coming back that haven't been here for a while because they only do football, I'm not sick. I've gotten an abundance of comments the last couple of weeks, DMs, private messages. There's nothing wrong. I just decided to eat healthy and work out a lot. So the thin face is from hard work, not from anything that need to be worried about. I appreciate all the comments and concerns, but it's good stuff, not bad stuff.
Yeah, well, just make sure you're eating, bro, because you don't want you to be getting too thin over there.
I eat plenty. Don't worry about it. But just sometimes it's grilled fish instead of pizza.
Hey, do your thing.
All right, man. So let's talk quarterbacks. When we did our original video a couple weeks ago, when we started kind of breaking down the original main slate, you almost asked me, you're like, well, why Kyler over Patrick Mahomes? And I had a response at the time. I have rethought that response for who my favorite quarterback is. And if you have the ability to stand up this week or spend up this week, I really like Patrick Mahomes. And there's a couple of reasons behind it. And I've been titillated by a few people who've talked to me about this. And it really has me kind of thinking about this one. And it's bad news for you as a Browns fan. But this is a little bit more, I'm reading a little bit more into a narrative than I would normally. And what that is the last time we saw the Kansas City Chiefs, they were absolutely embarrassed like we have never seen them before. Andy Reid has a reputation for being impeccable to start seasons. He's great off the bye. He's great in openers. He doesn't have a life. He sits around and just thinks football all offseason. Patrick Mahomes' touchdown to interception ratio in September is like 30-0, I believe is the number, or it could be in the 30s to 0. Either way, it's amazing. But this is big for me that I think the Chiefs have something to prove. This game means a lot more to them than probably almost any other week 1 is going to mean to the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs for as long as we know them, simply because they were flat out embarrassed on the biggest stage in sports last year, and they have been sitting here waiting to do this. So if I have the money, I'm going to go up to Patrick Mahomes. I like my boy Aaron Rodgers too. But if you're looking for reasons not to play these guys, both teams have made some moves on the offensive line in the offseason. So if you're looking for a reason to disagree me, I can see why you might have a little bit of a reason to think that with the newer offensive lines.
Browns also got a couple guys coming off the edge, and Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney that might make their life hard.
It's true.
So I think the point you just said, like, if you want to disagree with you, there's almost every team in play except for the Thursday night and the night games, no bye weeks. There's plenty of guys in good spots, right? It's not like some of the other sports where like every team, doesn't usually play. That's what NFL is. So there's going to be solid cases you can make for a lot of guys. But at the end of the day, it's still Patrick Mahomes. And while I'll give the Browns credit to make this a game, if it is, it's because they scored the points to match up with Kansas City. Kansas City's gonna score. They're gonna move the ball. It's not even about the Browns D. They do it to any defense. And Mahomes just seems like the safe, like a cog type, but with massive upside. There's just a lot to like about him here.
Yeah, I do like, it's kind of like to me when a starting pitcher has a really, really bad start, like on the rare occasion you see like a Max Scherzer with just a blow up start, I expect the best out of them next time out. And this is almost that on steroids. I mean, they were just flat out embarrassed the last time that people were watching them. So I do think this game means setting the season with the right tone this week.
For sure.
And it's Patrick Mahomes. All right. So speaking of high-priced studs, we'll get to some cheaper guys after these top two. I've been thinking long and hard about the top three running backs this week when we got Kamara, Dalvin Cook, and Christian McCaffrey. Checking around throughout the industry on ownership percentages, they're really, really close. I did a Twitter poll last night. It was really, really close. So that leads me to believe that the top three running backs are all going to be high-ish owned. There'll be a discrepancy, but I don't think it's going to be major. In fact, whether it's GPPs or cash games, I say play whoever you like this week because I can make a good case for all three of them. I'm going to land on Christian McCaffrey. At the end of the week, we know this guy is as viable as they come in both the passing and the running game. He's probably itching to get back out on the field after missing the vast majority of last year. But this comes down to one big thing for me. They're at home against the Jets. That's a great place to be. Give me some Panthers.
Yeah, we always want to pick on a team like the Jets on the road. Carolina, really good spot for them. New offense. They got Sam Darnold playing with revenge. McCaffrey, it's been a little bit since we've seen him be like that top dog, but we know that's in there. He's affordable for his upside. Like it seems like he's really expensive at 9,500, but first off, a ton of value to get him to put in there, so to make it easy to play him. And then also like when he's going well, he can be 10K plus easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeeze. Now, if you like the other top tier running backs, we're talking Kamara or Dalvin Cook. I like them too. And if you think that they're better, do your thing because they're all going to get ownership this week. McCaffrey's my favorite, but I had to think long and hard about this one. I just look at it most specifically from this way. Like, I don't want to play Dalvin Cook because of the couple $100 discount if I think McCaffrey's better. If you just flat out think Cook is better, then just play Cook.
I agree.
All right, next up, let's move over to your GPP guy, which is Antonio Gibson. As far as ownership projections on Gibson go, he's coming in somewhere between 5 and 10th highest owned running back. So I think that's fine for any format you play in. He's not super chalk for GPPs. He's not low on for cash games. If you like him, just play him.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that's kind of going to burst on the scene a little bit. And this is more like I expect him to have a big year. And in a month from now, I think that we'll be looking back and thinking, wow, Antonio Gibson, 5,900 is a lock. So I'm going to get on it early. Listen, he's not a must because, like you mentioned, we have Christian McCaffrey, other really good running backs on this slate. But for my money at this price point, I think Antonio Gibson could easily be the highest dollar for dollar scorer on the slate as far as running backs go. And it's not like inconceivable to see him be one of like the top 2 or 3 actual highest scoring running backs on the slate. He's got that type of upside.
Yeah, we saw it last year against Dallas. One of the other things to like about Gibson, I know most of you guys know how good Washington's defense is, but do you really remember how good they were down the stretch run last year? What I like about that for Gibson is, one, they just might have more time on the field. It's more possessions. I like the Chargers offense this year, but I think this is not the right week for him in Washington. That Washington defense is good. And that just means plenty of 3 and outs potentially for the Chargers, and that's going to make things a little bit, just easier for Gibson, more time on the field.
Good points. I like that a lot.
All right, next up. So you want to talk about Marshall Jr. of the Carolina Panthers. So my big point on this one is Jets, Jets. I have no issue picking on the Jets. And when you get a low-owned wide receiver at the minimum, sounds like this could be a recipe for success.
Yeah, man. So it's not like he's some lock or anything. Wouldn't be shocking to see him come out of this with a 0. That's week 1 of the NFL, right? When you're spending $3K on guys. But he was a really productive receiver at LSU, obviously a big-time college program, in a really good spot here. We talked about it with McCaffrey. We talked about the Panthers a lot when we made that first initial video a couple weeks ago. I'm still on them in a great spot at home against the Jets. With everyone, well, not everyone on them, but with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, the clear top 2 guys, people aren't really paying attention to Terrence Marshall Jr. for those out there. And he's falling under the radar. He's productive. He's been productive, throughout his college career. He looked really good in the preseason. You mentioned it. All it takes, all it takes is one toss at this price point. And I think he's got the upside for much more. I'm not going to be surprised if this is a guy that has a pretty decent rookie year.
Well, he's got a nice matchup week 1. Also, in the preseason, he was running as the number 3 guy next to Anderson and Moore, right. And then he was running a lot of deep patterns. So that plays to the whole notion of it just takes one pass against a dysfunctional team where he gets to take it to the house. A 60-yard touchdown, that's 13 points. That's all you need. He wouldn't even have to do anything else. Also, if you're playing him, like we figure the Panthers are going to score some points because they're playing the Jets. If you're playing him, you could play him over Christian McCaffrey, play him over the wide receivers, because when he's scoring, that means the other guys aren't.
And the other thing is, like, it's not like he's the number 5 wideout that was just like some, awesome in college. Like, he was their number 3. He's going to be their number 3. That's not the worst place to be for a team that we think is going to have success offensively.
Curtis Samuel was the number 3 last year, and he had plenty of games where he had plenty of DFS points.
Exactly. Amen.
So, and it's also this team that they're playing against, the Jets. They're not typically regarded as a good football team, so it's a better spot for them at home. I like the spot for all the Panthers, and this is just one that might go a little bit under the radar.
For sure.
All right, so the next guy up, I want to get a little bit, I wouldn't say like super low owned, because I think he gets a little bit of attention, but I want to talk about a cheap guy that I think you can utilize to maybe help fill your lineup with the Dalvin Cooks, McCaffreys, Mahomes, Devontae Adams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera of the world. And that's going to be Adam Troutman of the New Orleans Saints. So he got a little banged up in the preseason. His first game, he didn't do anything, and then he left the second game with a little bit of an injury. He has not been on the injury report, so it seems like he is good to go for week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. The Saints have a lot working against them right now, and that includes, obviously, Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees retiring, the whole Michael Thomas situation, bringing in Jameis Winston to be the starting quarterback. Well, they brought him in last year, but now he is the starting quarterback. They liked Troutman enough to select him in the 3rd round last year. Didn't do a ton last year, only 16 catches. But now with Jared Cook gone, Josh Hill is gone, this kind of opens up the offense for him to be the tight end for this team. And the other thing to take a look at is the fact that the Saints' Marquez Callaway is getting decent love. We don't know who he's going to be covered by on the Green Bay Packers. Last year, Jair Alexander basically just took away every single number 1 wide receiver. His numbers for the year were absolutely phenomenal. So if everybody goes Callaway, Alexander might cover him. He can cover Smith. We don't really know yet. But takes him away. Like, they're going to throw in this game, right? Well, where else is it going to go? They are banged up at wide receiver. Why not a tight end that's only $2,900?
Yeah, exactly. Who was a good receiver in college, very cheap, as you mentioned. The risk is minimal. Gives you exposure to a game that, should have points. And even though New Orleans is depleted, I still expect them to be able to move the ball some. And just like we mentioned with Marshall, like these guys are basically the same price. You don't need a lot.
No, like the idea that who here would be surprised to watch Jameis Winston get you 2 4s on Sunday? You know what I mean by that is 400 yards and 4 interceptions. Like, I'm not saying that he hasn't, maybe the Tigers changed his stripes and maybe he's a little bit more conservative, or maybe a motivated Packers team that spent the offseason getting lambasted in the media for a variety of different reasons has a really big game, gets a 2-touchdown lead early on, extends it to 3. They are throwing nonstop. And Winston is forced to constantly chuck the ball. They get into that softer zone, and Troutman gets 6 catches for 65 yards.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways it could play out for sure.
Yeah, Winston is a guy who clearly, we've seen this before. He can move the ball. This is not one of those bad quarterbacks who has no way to, give you good fantasy numbers.
Yeah, like I actually think this game's going to be very competitive. No matter how it breaks down, like maybe there's big leads throughout, but I think New Orleans has more success in this game than people think.
I'm curious to watch it from the New Orleans. Well, obviously, I'm curious to watch as a Packer fan, but I mean, I would not be surprised with anything from New Orleans, from really good to really bad and anywhere in the middle.
No doubt.
So we'll watch and learn, guys. That's what week 1 of the NFL is all about. So that's what we got today. We appreciate you all watching, guys. Sign up for a membership if you want those full-length videos where we talk about every player in the NFL. We got GPP videos. We got cash game videos. We got write-ups that usually come out late Saturday, occasionally Sunday morning. But we're ready to get after it this year. And good luck tonight and good luck in week 1.
Thanks a lot, guys.